Hello, this is Agoro, host of the Agoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, welcome to the Steve and Crypto Show, brought to you by thestevestrout.com. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the show, and if you have, swing by our Buy Me a Coffee page at buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto, where you can contribute to the show, and it all helps. Every little bit helps improve the show, help us upgrade gear, and just helps us make the best show we can. And the other way you could help is by sharing the show on social media, or even visiting your favorite podcast distributor where you listen to the Steve and Crypto Show, or your other favorite shows, and leave us a rating or review. It's easy as that. But on our last episode, we had the second part of our conversation with the Horror Host Hall of Famer and Rondo Award winner, Dr. Gangrene. He's been a horror host for over 20 years, and we talked about his career and got into his interview, his award-winning interview he had with the horror icon Bruce Campbell, which is, if you guys listen to us, you probably know who Bruce Campbell is. So that was a pretty cool chat. Thanks again, Dr. Gangrene, for hanging out. On this episode, we have our old friend Len Enders, who is a local guy from same town me and Crypto are in. This is Steve, by the way, of course, obviously. He's a artist, a musician, a creator. He has a pretty popular YouTube channel where he's sharing videos and telling stories about some of his childhood, teenage antics. It's literally like the shit they do is like watching a freaking episode of Beavis and Butthead, which is like so cool because where I grew up, we did have exposure to MTV and all that, but I guess in this town it's kind of a small community. Back then they didn't have MTV or any of that, so I don't know how these guys were so like they're real life this, like how they live this without really being influenced by it. It's pretty cool, man. Check out Len's story, and hope you guys dig our chat with him. And we also encourage you to go visit our friends at Fright Rags. Fright Rags has been bringing you the best in horror apparel and accessories since 2003, offering a wide range of products for your favorite creature feature classics. Collections include John Carpenter's Halloween, Universal Monsters, Night of the Living Dead, my personal favorite, Creepshow, Twin Peaks, Evil Dead, and so many more. It's funny we mention Evil Dead because we just made a Bruce Campbell mention. But all that stuff is officially licensed and available now at fright-rags.com. And Steve and Crypto listeners get 10% off when they use the code SteveCrypto10 at checkout. So go check it out, man. They got some cool shit. I got a bunch of stuff pre-ordered from them myself for my own collection. Fright-rags.com. Go check them out. And we thank you guys for keep coming back and hanging with us here on the Steve and Crypto Show. And meet our good buddy Len Enders. Hey, we're on the Steve and Crypto Show. Kind of excited because we're finally in person. And finally, yeah, we're not doing the Zoom thing. We're real life people. I can actually see, I can smell Crypto, and
I can smell your farts.
Yeah. I think I like it better when he's on the other side of the computer, so I don't have to smell him. But anyways, we are hanging out with a good old friend, kind of a local guy who is a big part of our area music scene and art scene and all that stuff, and he's basically a overnight YouTube sensation now. He's kind of blown up on a YouTube with his videos of his teenage debauchery and interesting
Antics.
That's a good word.
That's a good
word.
yeah.
We are hanging out with Len Enders. What's up, Len?
What's up? Glad to be here.
Thank
guys.
you. First time doing this in person, and our first in-person guest.
So
it's
cool.
A lot of firsts.
A lot of firsts. It's our first time together, guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird if you say
Love
it like
it.
that, but so let's the YouTube channel.
Yes.
A little story about that. I have a coworker. She's young. She's 16 years old, and just out of the blue one day, she realized that we were friends. She was like, "You're friends with Len Enders? That guy's a fucking legend." Like 16 years old. So like, obviously you've touched some people and made some kind of an impact.
That's cool.
How let's hear the Len story.
Of
Just
how
who you are and what you do, man.
well, basically, so I just have a channel where I started uploading videos from my childhood. When I was a kid living in Hadlock, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. Like I had ideas of like, oh, I wanted to make horror movies, stuff like that, and but we didn't have a video camera, and that stuff was pretty new then. People generally didn't have that. You kind of had to have money.
Yeah, just the rich kids had the
Yeah,
cameras,
pretty
yeah.
much. But when there finally was a video store opened up in Hadlock, and started renting movies there and stuff, one day I realized that they had a video camera that you could rent also for, however, it was like something like $5 a day or something like that, or I can't remember, $20 for 3 days or something. So I would like do work for my dad and save up money, and then pick it up on a Friday and return it on a Sunday. And initially it would always be like, okay, I'm going to shoot this horror movie, get all my friends involved and stuff. And, I'd be the director and everything. And it would just always fall apart very quickly. Like pretty soon I would be a tyrant trying to direct everyone around, and they'd all be like, dude, this is no fun. And so I never actually really got like a full movie finished. It was always just these chunks, get halfway through and then it would fall apart. But then from renting the camera, it just started to turn into like, I would just get it to just randomly document stuff, hanging out with my friends, doing, just bringing it along whenever we were like doing just dumb kid stuff, riding our bikes around, walking around town or hanging out at my house or whatever. So it was just all these videos that I figured they would just go in the box in the attic. I would never watch them again. And then maybe 15 years ago, I started putting them onto DVDs. And then in the last like few years was like, well, maybe I could like throw them up on YouTube and just see, if anybody would watch them. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So there was really never no intent of making this YouTube channel that
No,
has
not
a
at
ton
all.
of followers. And
Yeah, not even, never thought about it at all. And like I was saying earlier, I was a few years back was doing a music project thing that I was working on, and initially put up some of these 80s videos with the intention that people would see the videos and then look in the description and I could have links in there to my music project. And so like, oh, maybe that'd just be another way to get people to know about it. But then nobody cared at all about the music project, and instead was like, put up more videos. So then I was just like, oh, it's fun. So I just leaned into it, like just started going through all my archives and finding the just little moments, funny stuff, anything that I could, pull out and throw up there.
Well, you were onto something, because that's kind of what a lot of kids are doing now, just with their phones, recording everything they do and just putting it up online. just goofy shit with their friends. So
Yeah, like I guess it was vlogging, but before that was a thing. But vlogging, thinking that no one's ever going to see it, So I think it gave it sort of a little bit of a different vibe in that way, that, you're doing stuff now when kids are recording themselves, most people when they're recording, you're thinking about the audience.
right, you weren't performing.
Yeah,
You were
in a
just-
sort of a way, you end up sort of like performing. Whereas in that, with me and with my friends, it was just like, well, no one's going to see this. We're not even going to watch it, probably. So it was weird that we were even doing it, But then looking back, you have these moments on there that are just so pure or something, I guess you could say, because there's no performance happening there. There's no thought of the audience. We would talk. I liked to talk to the camera like there was an audience, and I'll see people commenting, picking out these parts where I'm like, talking about, how many people do you think are watching this? Or where I'm going like, if you think this is boring, rewind, just fast forward and stuff like that. And they'd be like, whoa, who was he talking to? It's like he knew there was going to be an audience, but I was just doing it to, amuse myself or whatever at the time.
It was just going to go in the attic, and
Totally.
that was it. So you might have invented vlogging.
There's actually a guy that is there's a guy who has passed away who's on YouTube, and I can't think of his name, but I really think of this dude as the first vlogger. He was in the 80s. He was like in the sort of a dance club scene in New York City. God, I wish I could think of his name. Anyways, he filmed religiously, like was a full-on vlogger just for himself. And after he passed away, one of his friends, someone who knew him, started uploading all of his videos. And I think that guy was the first for sure.
So how long was it before, or if ever, did you finally get your own video recorder?
I didn't until, so I started like filming stuff in like 86 was when I first rented the video camera, and I didn't actually get one that I owned until 1999.
So long after you recorded all this footage.
Yeah, way after. And like, yeah, it was like 1999. So yeah, a long time later. So I don't have, like, I've got a lot of footage, but I don't have like some crazy ridiculous amount. I would just randomly rent the video camera. Maybe I would try and do it like every few months or so. So I would probably do it 5 times a year or something like that. And then just record for the whole weekend or whatever. And then sometimes borrow cameras too. Would usually, if there was someone a little bit later, like later 80s, early 90s, then having a camera was a little more normal. So there would be people like, oh, do you think I could borrow your parents' camera for the weekend? Whatever.
So it's good that you didn't just rely on that one from the video store, because I could see you going in and getting frustrated. Somebody else has it. You're like, shit, what am I going to do now?
Oh,
At
yeah.
least you had other people to go to.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I used to go and reserve it in advance, especially if there was stuff like back when, I don't know if they do it here anymore, but there was like Hadlock days. But
Yeah, they still do that.
They do still do it. And so I would many months in advance, know what weekend Hadlock Days was going to be, and I would reserve it so that I'd have it that time, or any special things like that I knew were coming up. I would get it, because there were a few times that I went to get it and what? Who the hell else out there? And it's,
I need to film my Jackass video.
yeah, totally. I'm trying to make a Friday the 13th here.
So I think the wild thing is watching your videos on your channel. You guys are kind of doing some crazy shit. like filming, mobbing around in the crazy orange car and
Oh yeah, yeah.
hanging out of trees and shit up on the cliffside.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised you guys never broke the fucking camera.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I was just looking on the way over here. I stopped for a second right up in Kivley Center because there's this one video where I'm in a top of a tree there, filming Hadlock and stuff, and was looking like, oh my God, like I was pretty far up there in this tree, and that camera was, it was the kind that you sat
Big,
on
they
your
were huge.
shoulder.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
It
the
was
little.
like the size of the VCR you watched the shit on.
Yes,
It was
totally.
big.
It wasn't like some handy cam shit that you could just put in your palm. It was like
No
a
little-
full.
no little GoPro back in
yeah,
'88.
yeah, nah. And so, I was sitting there for a minute, like, how the hell did I get up there and pack that thing? And if the people that ran the store would have known that, they would have been like, "You're cut off from renting this thing."
Yeah, those things were beasts, though,
Yeah,
for
it's a
sure.
good thing they never asked you what you were doing. Or like,
Yeah,
what
totally.
kind of videos you making?
Yeah.
Oh, just filming
Oh,
videos
just
with my
like-
grandmother.
Just,
Gardening.
just being Daredevil shit,
Just dangling off of a cliff with your $2,000 camera.
Yeah. So there was never any intent when you started putting these on YouTube for it to become what it is.
No, not at all.
What,
Not even a little bit.
how long was it before you realized, like, holy shit, this is a thing? This is like,
Maybe like, I don't know. I was probably putting stuff up for 6 months or something like that before, like, I started noticing stuff like there'd be a video that would have like, more than, I don't know, a couple hundred views, where I would be like, whoa, where is this coming from? And then that's when I would, like, every once in a while, like, do something like Google my own name, and then I would find links. There'd be like Reddit, like shit on Reddit, like talking about the 80s or something, and like, here's this guy in the 1980s, or whatever. So then I started seeing like, oh, there's like actually people who would. So then I like started to be a little more, how can I put it? A little more like thinking about what an audience might want to see, instead of just, oh, here's a random thing I'm just going to throw up there. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
I noticed you started putting more, like, animation and, like, telling the story and editing stuff together so it looks like a really
yeah, and
professional thing.
And
yeah.
those are my favorite to do. Once I started like, and it was actually, I was never thinking about doing like story time type videos or telling any stories like that at all. I was using this app called Marco Polo, which it lets you send videos back and forth to each other instead of sending a text. You're just filming a video basically back and forth. And one day I was showing a friend of mine, I was going through some old photos and told this story, like, oh, here's this thing that we did, and I'm showing photos and I'm talking a thing, and then he hit me back and was like, dude, that was so fun to watch. You should just post that on YouTube. And then that's when he was like, you should just tell that story that you just told with your photos and all that stuff and put that up. And that's when I started like looking up stuff like story times and saw that was like an actual thing that people did. But most of the time, all they do is just sit in front of the camera and tell a story, and it's pretty boring. So then that's when I was like, oh, I could put illustrated stuff along with footage, along with photos, along with any documentation or stuff that I have that's relevant that I could show and make it more documentary style.
Yeah,
in a way.
that's what I was gonna say. It's very like many documentaries and it does allow you to like showcase your illustrative abilities too.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is cool.
Yeah. I love doing those actually, but they just take me so much. They're so time consuming with putting music in, and you know, and I get like super nitpicky and like want it to be perfect and stuff. So
that's just the artist in you. That's
totally,
we're all,
yeah,
all
it
like,
sucks.
Yeah,
It's annoying.
yeah.
But yeah, I've got a stack of those actually, of stories that I want to do, that I'm just like getting together, you know, all the photos and stuff. I have to go through all my photographs and find all the relevant things to go with it, and you know, dig through all my storage unit and find any kind of things that go along, you know, and stuff. So
See, that's impressive. That knowing you, I've known that you've moved around a lot. You know, and for you to still have all this old shit, all these old pictures and all this and that, to be able to put this together is
totally
very
and,
impressive.
Yeah, and I do not know how. It's just like straight up by luck that even, because I mean, moving out to different states and stuff, and just I would just drag all those videos, like just boxes of VHS, and just have them hanging out, you know, in a drawer somewhere, and that I didn't lose any or whatever, or photos and all that.
I don't know how much shit I've lost moving across town. So like,
Yeah, right.
that's
Totally.
impressive. And one of the interesting stories that you've told on there is about a former band that sort of never was, I guess, the Skeleton Crew.
Oh,
which you guys
yeah,
started
yeah.
selling merch for, which sounds like is doing really well. But
Yeah, oddly.
how did what do you think was the downfall of the band? 'Cause I know you guys played like one show and then you moved to LA to make it big
Yeah.
and all that. Like how
We
what
just,
was life like down there when you moved down there?
Oh, it was really, really lame. It was actually fun looking back on it, like an adventure that I'm super glad that we did. But we were just like straight up had no idea what we were doing. It wasn't like you could go Google the area that you want to move to, like what's a good neighborhood, you know, or something. And none of us knew anything about anything. It was just like, oh, I read in Circus magazine that the band Poison moved to LA and they made it. So that's where we need to go. So we just like literally drove there, and then we're just basically homeless. There was one of our like band members had a cousin who lived there that we stayed with for a minute, until her and her roommate were just like, we're so over you guys, like don't even come back here anymore. They were so annoyed.
That sounds like a trend in
Yeah,
throughout your
totally.
history.
Yeah. But yeah, we just basically like lived in a car, and then eventually the car broke down, and then we just lived outside, and somehow still thought we were going to be huge. We were literally like sleeping in the area where the dumpsters go behind an abandoned building, and had no instruments, had written no songs. We had no vehicle. Like our clothes stunk. There was a point where I didn't shower for 30 full days, and still we were all convinced like this is working. Like this is going to be killer. We're going to make it.
Didn't play one show.
No. We didn't.
Did you even at least like fool some chicks into we're a band and let us come hang out? And
No, because
free
we
drugs
like
and- no.
smelled. We literally smelled really, really bad. I mean, it was obvious that we were like living on the street. So
Did you guys
didn't-
go to any venue while you were out there at all? I
we
mean,
went to
like,
it. We
hey, we're
did go to a
band.
couple shows, and there was a point where, so there was 4 of us, and the guitar player ended up coming back home. Was like the only smart dude, basically, and so then we looked for a guitar player, and we found a guy who was like interested, but he could actually play like really well. And I don't know even why he was like down to hang out with us. I mean, we couldn't show him anything. Just like, yeah, we promise we're good. We'll get some instruments together someday, whatever. But we went to some shows with him, like hung out with some of his friends and stuff a little bit. Would go to his house, and he still lived with his mom. He was like 18 and we were 19. And so we would go over and shower and stuff there. But,
Finally, right?
Yeah, we did not go to any shows, really, anything. We just literally, we would go to Burger King, and you could get free refills if you bought a soda. So we would get like one pop, sit in there the entire day, refilling this one soda, and just like sitting, drawing, or like trying to write lyrics or whatever. And then we would go around places and just shoplift food, and got caught like numerous times. Luckily not arrested, but just like tossed out. Like, and we'd be like, okay, there's another store we can't go into, you know.
So what was the final straw in giving up and coming back home?
So we had been, our car had broken down. We needed to get oil in our car really, really bad. The car that we were living in, it was like a great big Monte Carlo, and we needed to get oil super bad. We went to this store one time we were shoplifting some stuff, and we came out of the store and we found there was a $20 bill on the ground. And so we were like, oh my God, yes, we need to get oil for our car, like immediately. But like absolute dipshits, instead of getting oil, we drove straight from there to McDonald's and blew the entire $20 on just like as much McDonald's as we could get, and just stuffed our faces. When we left from there, we were driving on the freeway, and literally heard a pop, and smoke just started barreling out of it, and then cruised it off to the side of the road, and then we just abandoned it because it was dead. So we got a friend to drive us to the place where we were staying in this park, and they dropped us off by this park, and we had literally blankets with just like our stuff in it, like hobo style, just slung over our backs. And we brought our blankets up to these bushes to stash them, and then we were walking down to this mini mart from there. From the time that we stashed the blankets and walked a couple blocks down to the mini mart, when we got to the mini mart, all these cops came flying in, literally pulled out guns, get down on the ground, get on the ground, you know, cuffed us and stuff, because there had been robberies in the area, and some people saw us with these things slung over our, you know, just looking like filthy kids. So they called the police, and they, you know, dug out our blankets, and they're just like, ugh, there's nothing in it but gross clothes. You know, it's just smelly. And this cop just like gave us this full lecture. Just, what are you dudes doing? We didn't even have IDs. None of us had IDs. So it's illegal to not have an ID. Like, I could arrest you for that. And we're just like, what? And he just like lectured us for like an hour. You guys should just go home. Why don't you go back? Like, go home. What are you doing?
They'd probably seen so many kids just
Idiot.
in that situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
They're
probably,
like,
yeah.
I've seen this a million times. Go your ass home.
But so basically that guy kind of we were like, yeah, maybe we are being kind of dumb. And so then that was our catalyst to turn around, head home.
And that was the end of the Skeleton Crew.
Pretty much. We came back to Hadlock, and then got together with our old guitar player, started to rehearse just a little bit, like finally started to like write some songs. And we had only rehearsed, it was like our third rehearsal or something. And we owed our instruments and stuff. We had bought like kind of on credit. The dude would let us in it. It was Port Townsend Music at the time. The dude was really nice, and he had let us like put a down payment and then make a monthly payment. And then at some point we just like each one of us stopped paying and just never went in there anymore. Just total dicks, you know. But he eventually found where our band room, like did some investigating to track us down, and then waited until one night when he heard, like fully staked it out, and waited until he heard music, and then just came bursting in like, I want my fucking equipment, or I want my money. And he came to repossess it, and we didn't have money. So that was pretty
that
much
was
when
the
it ended.
official end.
Yeah, that was where it really ended.
Until that was the last Skeleton Crew was heard of, until recently when
until recently, yeah,
started
when
selling the shirts.
Yeah, so just to for fun, basically, was like made a video about the sort of that story, and made different t-shirt designs to go with what our t-shirts would have looked like had we
They
done them.
do definitely look like an 80s hair metal
Yeah,
band t-shirt.
totally.
Which is cool. Where can people get the shirts? Where can they find them?
So it's a site called Teespring. Actually, it's changed its name to just Spring. But if you just like Googled my name and the word Teespring or Spring, or probably even just t-shirts, it would come up.
So go get a shirt. Google Lynn Enders, Teespring or Spring, and get a Skeleton Crew shirt.
And on all my videos, there's links on every video in the description to all, to that and any other places I am online.
So what are some other projects and stuff you've been involved with since between Skeleton Crew and the YouTube channel startup?
Well, I was in this band in the 90s and like Port Townsend area called Circle of Fear that I sang in, and then there was I did like a bunch of stuff with this local legend known as the Heavy Metal Warrior, like some few different projects with him for a bunch of years on and off, and then I tried to put together a couple different just like weird solo projects, like kind of comic booky based / rock music things where they just didn't really work out very well, or I bit off more than more than I could actually do. So up until until I started messing around with YouTube.
Well, you and I both have a music background, and have you managed to make a lot of friends over the years, in the music world, and just, do you feel like it's as big a part of your life as it is?
Music, I'm not super into at this point anymore. Like, messing around with music isn't that, like, I'm more into like making video stuff now. Like, that interests me like way more. So music doesn't really move me. So it's not something I'm gonna probably do anytime soon.
Do you have any ideas for a future video?
Oh yeah, I've got tons of ideas for like different stories and stuff.
Give us a little tiny clip of something on the show here, maybe, just for
I want to do
teaser?
I'm definitely going to do a full video of the whole Skeleton Crew, like being homeless, like a full video of that at some point. And I want to do something about the Heavy Metal Warrior. Like, I really want to do like something more documentary, like actually documentary like about him. So those are a couple things that I'm gathering all the stuff together to put together.
Well, I think you got a lot of people around here that you could talk to, out this way.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To help, with getting that going.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Heavy Metal Warrior and AK-47 thing, you could probably put together like a full-length documentary.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get interviews from locals and all that.
And I have video of him, just documenting him randomly since literally the mid 90s. So I've got quite a stack of footage of him through the years, and his performances and stuff too.
Yeah, you said he's kind of a local legend.
He's definitely
the
legend.
I think one of the last big shows I did with him was down at the Pin Bar. It was the first show that they had, and it was a big hip hop show. I mean, that place didn't fit a lot of people anyway.
Yeah.
But we had about 60 to 80 people between inside and just hanging out, like out in the street, and then, on the cement and everything. And it was Heavy Metal Warrior and Function Music Group, and I think Mage's Guild, and it was a hell of a show. It was a
Yeah.
really fun time with him, and everybody was just singing along with AK-47s in
Yeah.
the house.
Yes, totally. Yeah, that's the thing that's cool is his rap tunes are super, like, you can hear him for the first time and be able to sing along.
Yeah.
You know, with it. Like,
Yeah, they all had like that hook that just
totally.
catch it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Were you involved heavily in the AK-47?
Yeah, so that was I actually did his like whole recording and stuff. He had come to San Diego to visit me, and while he was there, we were over at a buddy's house, and the buddy had like a full, he was a DJ for a hip hop group, and so he had a full like coffin with turntables and stuff. And we were just hanging, and he started messing with it and showing the Warrior what he could do. And then he gave him a mic and was like, you should try and rap something, like just do some of your heavy metal lyrics, but do them rap style. And that's where he got this idea of like, whoa, I could actually be a rapper. And when he went home, went back to Port Townsend, he just like dove into it. And next thing, he's hitting me up, sending me all these lyrics. And I'm like, these are actually hilarious. Like, they're pretty good. So then we did a thing through the mail. He would take a sample beat and record it and then do his raps and send it to me. And I didn't have a computer at the time, so it was all like analog, you know, messing around. But I laid all of was able to build the songs around his raps along to his like little sample, you know? So the actual recording, the CD was like, I made the whole CD to his rhymes or whatever. And then when he would play shows, I would be like, if I could be there, I would be his like hype guy, you know, quote unquote DJ or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's
there was some fun shows with that. There was a couple at the Legion Hall back, I don't know, 2004 or something, that were like some pretty big ragers where it was a good time.
It was definitely good times back then. 'Cause I think when I first moved to this area, where Port Townsend, Washington, people that don't know listening, some of my first exposure to the local music scene was from AK-47, Heavy Metal Warrior.
Yeah,
going around town with just his hustle bag full of
totally,
CDs,
the
and
hustle
shit,
bag
like,
or driving his car up to wherever and kicking open the
Yep.
trunk, just like,
this dude, like, intense. I was like, at first I was like, just who's this crazy guy?
yeah,
Before I knew who he was just like this crazy old metalhead dude, just like, buy my shit, like,
yeah.
fucking first mentally handicapped gangsta rapper, like, yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, I want that CD. Like,
Totally.
I'm just gonna say this: Compton Gangbang.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Yeah.
That's one of my faves. I don't know. AK-47 in the house might be
that's like an anthem.
that one. I think is yeah.
If he doesn't do that at a show, we're gonna riot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but you're in the house. How
Yeah.
can you not tell us that you're in the
Yeah.
house?
You're literally in the house. You have to throw it down.
See, so now people are gonna be definitely looking forward to that big documentary,
Yeah.
big AK-47
Yeah,
documentary.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool.
But so with the channel, you mentioned a couple ideas you had for stories and everything. Is there any other angles or anything you want to add to the channel to kind of expand on it?
Pretty much. I just
Stick to the story time.
yeah. I want to do as many of those as I can come up with, and then just all the you know, just random home video things, but nothing crazy, nothing like where I'm gonna go off on like a totally different direction or anything like that. It'll be sticking pretty much same format.
Right. Is there ever any intent to introduce your subscribers to the later in life Len, or is it just
Yeah, I just yeah, totally. But I kind of like there to be like a little cushion of years in between, if that makes sense. Like, you know, like
It's like a mystery. Like, what happened to this guy? And
right, yeah.
How
So,
is he
but
where he's
I
at
kind
now?
of like don't want to post some stuff that isn't maybe like 10 years old or something at least. You know what I mean? I'm not going to put up stuff that's like, here's what I'm doing today, only because I don't know that's
just like videos of sitting in the office at the keyboard just typing.
right. Yeah, or whatever. Like, yeah,
No boring shit, basically.
Yeah.
Keep it exciting.
yeah.
Right. So before we wrap up, just a little
Yeah.
chat. Where can people find the channel, and where can they find you on social media and all that important
So the channel is just my name, Len Enders. So if you just go on YouTube and type in Len Enders or youtube.com/Len Enders. And then from there, there's links in every video and all over my channel to every other place where I am, Instagram or TikTok and Facebook and everything.
So if they jump in to your channor, what would you say is the right video to start?
Where
like,
to
sucking
start?
in?
I would say start with my first car story time. That would be the one to start.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one I was watching recently, and my fiance was just in the background working on something, and then she heard you talk about like the Ajax.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think
yeah.
that was the same one.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's talking about work to Ajax. She's like, "Hey, that's Hater, right?" And then she just got like sucked in and
Yeah.
just watched the next 3 videos we watched. So
Oh,
it was,
right on.
It was that's probably how it worked. That's probably how it took off. And just do you think it all started with local, like myself, acquaintances and friends and stuff that got the ball rolling? Or you think?
I think it was people who had no idea who I was, just like people interested in the 80s or the 90s, like just searching for stuff like that and coming across.
Found this random crazy
yeah.
dude. And,
Yeah, totally. And like some Reddit posts and stuff like that talking about that sort of stuff definitely got it going more than... Because I didn't put it out there a super lot to like my friends or anything like that.
Right. It's kind of like that era. It was like real life. Like, if you think the era that you were recording all this stuff, it was, MTV era.
Yeah.
Like Beavis and Butthead had come along and doing all this
Yep.
crazy shit, and it was like real life that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So were you pretty influenced by that stuff, MTV and
No, because there was no MTV in Port Townsend or Hadlock. You actually could not get it here because that was the days of cable, and MTV wouldn't come to Port Townsend.
that's
So,
wild because it's so like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like really that, and somehow you guys were living that.
Yeah, it's really weird. We
Without
would just get
exposure.
mostly we would get our inspiration would be like we just wanted to be in a rock band, like the stuff we read about in rock magazines. So that was a lot of where we would like be inspired.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of kids' dream then, and you guys went for it, and it didn't work out.
Didn't
but
quite
now
work
you
out.
got these
But I've
stories
got
to tell.
But I've got a backlog of
A ton of stories.
Yeah.
Cool, man. We'll keep the stories going.
Cool.
People enjoy them. It looks like your subscribers keep going up, so that's good. And like I said, I had the 16-year-old coworker call you a fucking legend, so that means
That's
you're
awesome,
touching
dude. That's
the
so
new
cool.
generation of people, not
That's
just
super
the
cool.
nostalgia thing that like I'm into it for, because it's like, yeah, I remember doing stuff like that, and what I
Yeah.
mean? But you're touching the kids, man.
I couldn't. I just didn't imagine that. I thought I would actually just get made fun of by kids on there. Actually, when I was putting them up,
It's like Len Enders is for the children, like Wu-Tang,
Wu-Tang
for the children. But yeah, man, check out Len Enders on YouTube. And anything you want to add before we?
Nope. Just
Nope.
thanks for having me over.
Yeah, man. Thanks for hanging out, and come back soon.
All right.
Get a few more videos out and come back and visit and hang out. And
For sure.
cool. Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you, Len Enders, for hanging out and telling us how you got the channel started and all that good stuff. We definitely have you back soon. I really wanted to talk a little bit about your attempts at making a Friday the 13th fan film. We'll definitely have you back to visit and talk more about that. Guys, make sure you swing by our Buy Me a Coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/Steve Crypto, and show us some love and keep sharing and reviewing and all that good stuff. Help get the word out. And as always, I thank you guys for listening. We've been the Steve and Crypto Show. Peace.